one, we're going. Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, everybody. Hope you're all having a wonderful night. So, it's all coming down to this, but instead of a huge climax, we're only doing part one. So, with that said, let's get into it. We got the Ambassador, Alistair Moody. We got Mads Mama Bear with that awesome Gengar hat. And we got AFK Bard, the lovely AFK. And we are waiting on one more, but once he gets in here, we'll bring him in. 24/7 Fusion. Great person coming, highly recommended from Mads. And so, yes, we are going to get this thing started. Stunning Brave Megatron, how you doing, buddy? Or Baby Megatron, sorry. Whoops! And I got my mod AFK in the chat. So now that we're going, sorry we're late starting, but we are going to get this going. Now, this movie basically starts with, well, metal scraping sound, ear-piercing, and rusting of the Warner Brothers sign. And let me just tell you, the audio when I first saw this movie in theaters was high, like really up there. So everybody literally went like this. Like they just cringed when that started doing it. And it's like, I don't blame you. I'm doing it too. God damn. I felt like my eardrum started to bleed. But then it goes to a brilliant actor who they was like the perfect choice, in my opinion, for Rufus Scrimger, or Scrimgeour, however you want to pronounce it. Bill Nye. And no, not the science guy. Bill Nye, the actor who
actually it's pronounced, hey, Orange, just real quick, it's pronounced Bill Nighy or Nighy.
Nye.
Yeah.
Bill Nye.
It's English. It's very English.
It's very English, alrighty. Now, the first thing, everybody knows how the movie starts. Everybody's preparing for battle, getting ready for the Night of the Seven Harrys. Almost sounds like a horror movie in some ways, but it also sounds like Harry and the Hendersons times 7. But the first thing, folks, if you're a Star Wars fan, well, if you're a fan of the sequel movies, which I don't think anybody in the chat is, but if you are, hey, no problem. Bill Weasley is General Hux is in this movie. Now, Harry actually does know Bill Weasley in the books, but because they didn't bring him in, because Bill Weasley was actually at the first Battle of Hogwarts in book 6. But
he was also in the Goblet of Fire.
He was also in Goblet of Fire as well. No, wait, that was Charlie.
That was Charlie, my bad. Sorry. Sorry.
Now, Bill Weasley, man. When I was seeing this recently, it's like, why does he look so freaking familiar? And then I'm like, oh, it's Hitler from The Force Awakens. Yeah, if I was monetized, I would be instantly demonetized for that. But you know what? I don't care. I really don't. So, yeah, if you guys all made that connection, what was your reaction if you noticed it?
I didn't notice. Honestly, I did not notice.
Unfortunately,
but now that I know it, it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, pretty much. What doesn't bother me as much as it did, Umbridge being one of the 3 fairies in Maleficent.
Oh yeah, from Maleficent.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. That's terrifying.
As soon as I saw her, I'm like, who's going to let her with their child?
Yeah, I know, right?
mentally damaged people like the parents in Maleficent.
Yeah. So basically in this scene, before everybody comes in, he's going through the house, just reminiscing, goes into the closet, because, well, he's Harry, he's a closeted wizard. Plays with a couple toys, and then he hears the knock on the door. And, well, yeah. Everybody's like, you're looking fit. Yeah, he's absolutely gorgeous. Let's get inside before somebody murders him. Just
This
Mad-Eye Moody.
is why Alistair Mad-Eye Moody will always be my favorite aura / wizard. Period.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Harry. I love you, but Alistair Moody is my favorite wizard ever because he's played by one of my favorite actors. And his costume is freaking badass.
New Witches remake. Oh, are you talking about the oh dude, Soul Assassin. Are you talking about the Craft? That Craft? It's not a remake, dude. It's actually a sequel.
It's a standalone sequel.
Yeah, it's a
So
standalone
interesting.
sequel. It's kind of like a sequel / remake. But yeah. I made this. Yeah, you did make that hat, and it looks awesome.
Thank you.
Seriously, that is awesome.
Me and the little bear, there's a YouTuber that we watch, and every one of her episodes, she has this Bulbasaur hat. It's a little slouchy beanie. But with this one, I had to do it short just to get those little Gengar ears.
Nice.
That's
Now,
super awesome.
moving on to talking point 2, Seven Harrys and the Aftermath. So we're going to cover the entire Seven Harrys, the battle, all of it. So, but before we do, actually, we should start where Snape comes in and Voldemort and them talking. So yeah, I cannot believe I didn't write that. God damn it, me and my whole Bill Weasley as General Hux thing. God damn you. But anyway, we all know that basically Voldemort has his little council of darkness with Snape and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And he then displays, they should have put this in the movie when he says, I need somebody else's wand. And he's like, now they should have put it in. It's like, instead of, what about you, Lucius? He should have taken the line straight out of the book. Lucius, I don't think you really need a wand anymore. I mean, Voldemort was truly pissed off with the Malfoys at this point. Malfoy failed him, or Lucius Malfoy failed him twice if you think about it. He was he was put in charge of one of Voldemort's Horcruxes, the diary. And, well, we all know what happened in the Chamber of Secrets.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one failure.
Mm-hmm.
The second failure is the prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
He was only broken out because, well, let's face it, everybody else was breaking out, so why can't he? Now, that and his son didn't kill Dumbledore, but Snape did, and that cemented Voldemort's trust in him. Now, with that, it's like, my lord, I require your wand. It's like, you should have just left it like in the book. But yeah. And then he pulls out his wand and he sees a look on Malfoy's face thinking that he's going to trade his freaking wand with Voldemort. He's like, my wand, Lucius? You think I'm going to give you my wand? And he gets everybody laughing at him. And oh, wait, here we go. Hopefully this works. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Awesome, it worked. Folks, this is 24/7 Fusion. Give them a warm welcome to my channel. 24/7, you came highly recommended by Mads. So welcome to the channel, bud.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm sorry about the kerfunkle, but it's
hey, happens to the best of us.
Up, Yeah, I just had to do everything I can to make sure I, showed up. So just happy to be here.
We're covering the council bit of Voldemort talking with his Death Eaters. And hey, Jay Money, how you doing? Now, what did you think of how the differences between the book and the movie were for Voldemort addressing his Death Eaters about his wand?
I'll be honest with you, I didn't read the book.
Oh, well, movies work too. Anyway, we'll go over it. We will go over it again. So basically he explains the relationship between his wand and Harry's, how the twin cores. And he goes to, in the book, it actually happens quite differently. He humiliates Malfoy even further. He's like, Lucius, I don't think you really need your wand anymore. Instead of going up to Lucius, I require your wand. No, he humiliates him. And when he pulls out his wand, is when he pulls it out there, Lucius thinks that Voldemort's going to give him his wand, and he actually calls him out further on that. He's like, my wand, Lucius? You think I'm going to give you my wand? And he just continues to just bash Lucius's ego into dust. Now, they also talk to, or Snape basically gives the information to Voldemort about where Harry's going to be moved. And it's not really in the movie, but he actually confunds Mundungus Fletcher to suggest this to the Order because he is a double agent.
Right.
Now, one of the things I do love in this scene, he takes the wand, or he takes Lucius's wand, and he's just like, and just snaps the handle right off the wand and just throws it on the thing right in front of Lucius with the biggest just disgust. Now, what did everybody think of Nagini eating, what was her name?
I can't remember the name of the professor.
The
lady that was over the
hanging over him, yeah.
Yeah, no, she was like over the division of the
Charity
Muggles
Burbage.
or whatever.
Yeah, Charity Burbage. She was the head of Muggle Studies.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
He just wastes her, and he's like, Nagini, dinner. I'm like, wow, man. And Nagini just goes up and starts eating her. Sadly, we can't see. Well, sadly, we can't see what happens. But it just shows that, well, you're all at this table. You're going to see Nagini have a snack. How is that snake still able to get around? I mean, I know nature studies people. If Nagini ate Burbage, it would take weeks to digest.
Well, she's a magic snake, see. Otherwise, it wouldn't even be able to swallow it.
It's magic, baby. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Is this where we go with the content comments every week?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I love that reply, for real. That's...
So, yeah. Now, 7 Harrys in Aftermath. I do love some of the lines in this whole scene where Bill Weasley, a.k.a. General Hux from The Force Awakens. Yes, folks, if you have seen The Force Awakens, that is the same actor. But anyway, Mundungus gets it, and freaking Alistair's just ripping up. Zip it, Mundungus! And so he's like, I think you're familiar with this particular brew. No. It's like, shut up, man. You're doing it. They're all of age. You're not. You're outnumbered. You don't matter in this particular instance. So,
but when does a Mundungus really matter?
Yeah. For those of you who don't, or who aren't familiar with Polyjuice, fair warning. Tastes like goblin piss. Fair or experience with that, Matt? Was it Fred or George that said that?
It was Ron. No, it was George, I think.
It was one of them.
Yeah, it was one of the twins, yeah.
Yeah. You're like, just trying to diffuse the tension. It's like, dude, you can't diffuse tension with Mad Eye. He'd rather kill you. But
Mad Eye is tension personified, and that's why I love him.
Yeah.
Man,
and so
that drink is spicy.
Yeah. And so they all turn into Harry. And one of the funny things, I actually watched the special features of these movies, and they were worried that Daniel Radcliffe wasn't effeminate enough for Fleur Delacour when she says, "Look away, I'm hideous," and I'm like,
oh,
that's just cringe. That's just cringe when he's removing a bra. It's like, please tell me you weren't actually wearing panties too, Daniel.
I doubt it.
But yeah, so they all get out there and they all take off. Thestrals, brooms, the like, as Harry says, or as Mad Eye says, and also the motorcycle, Sirius's motorcycle, to be 100% accurate.
Right.
And then we see just all hell breaking loose above the clouds. What did you all think of that scene?
Oh, shit, it was like it was all out war. I loved it. It was just the way it was like it's funny because it was the way they took off. You thought that they had a chance, because they were going for a little bit, and everything was good and nothing was going on, and all of a sudden you see that crack of lightning and that thunder, and boom, and the closer they got to it, when once they actually ran into it and they got to the other side, that's when you see all the hell breaking loose and shit. And they were they were like bat, trying to get out of there like bats out of hell. So yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I loved it. It was especially for the time that when it came out, it was quite
up there.
It was something like you was always ready to see the greatness of like Harry Potter and see like him in the midst of in the middle of a fight and get in and out of some shit. And this is like one of the first times you really get to see him like really battling out and he and he's not being chicken shit, like not to say that he ever was, but he rise to the occasion. He didn't cower down. He was ready to fight and battle this shit all the way on through. And I was like, wow, that's and it was the first time you see him like really in the midst of everybody trying to save him. It's like he didn't. It's like it's funny how like when people try to protect a certain person and all the folks around them are like getting shot down, they're getting hurt, they're getting killed, and they're trying to make sure that this one individual survives all the way through the confrontation, and the one person that that person that they're trying to protect, not all the time, but for a good portion of the time, they're not doing anything to help. It's like they're just being protected and shielded, and hey, let's get them out of there. And they're like hopeless, and, or not hopeless. They're helpless. Like they can't do nothing to help, and they have to leave it to the other folks, to get the job done. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like that. He was one of them. So of course he's doing shit and he's battling out right with the rest of them. And I was like, that's you want to see him take as much charge and be responsible within the action just as much as everybody else is trying to save his ass to get him out of there. Yeah. So yeah, that's didn't mean to talk so much, but yeah, that's when I saw that I was like, oh yeah, go ahead, whoop that.
How you doing, Austinator? So Matt, what was your opinion on the whole? Because you and I are the book readers of this group.
The whole seven Harrys thing. Mm-hmm. I will admit, actually, I was even just re-looking that up. That whole tastes like goblin piss, all of that. It's not in the book.
Yeah, it isn't. It's a good ad.
that had to have been a random ad lib that they're like, we'll just keep it.
Yeah, Brendan Gleeson, man, he is a. Drop my Kit Kat. Brendan Gleeson is a great actor.
Yes,
and he just brought, or when he said that line, it's like, oh my god, that is so freaking great.
Yeah, I'm just at that point now where I need to know which one of the brothers said it.
Yeah. So, what did you think about the whole battle and the aftermath?
What?
The battle and the. Oh, sorry, I didn't know if you didn't. Yeah.
No, I heard. I liked the battle. They held on to the chaotic of that moment really well. For me, it's losing Hedwig is a like that first rough blow.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those ones that I'm still not sure if I'm comfortable with, being completely honest.
I'm gonna say that really wrecked me when I was reading it. I'm a book person as well. I gotta say it affected me more in the book than it did in the movie, because they changed how she died in the movie. In the book, she was in her cage the whole time, and it was really rough because it just came out of nowhere. But then in the movie, they have her swooping in like a hero to, do something, and then she just gets wiped out. And I felt like it had more of an impact in the book. But losing her regardless was like super deep, because it was like, she was the first thing Harry got as a wizard, So it's like he lost the last bit of his childhood innocence.
In a sense, yeah, that is a good point there.
Yeah.
After that, it's just waiting for him to turn 18, right? Or 17.
17. Yeah.
17. Yeah. Those Brits.
Yeah.
They didn't really go into the deaths and injuries that were related with that battle as much.
Mm-hmm.
They only covered the main important ones, which was George losing his ear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, who else got hurt then?
Mad-Eye.
Oh,
yeah, they only covered that he died. They didn't.
Yeah.
And they didn't touch on that Hagrid, if I remember correctly, passed out.
Mm-hmm.
Or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
He got when
he
got stunned. Yeah.
Yeah, he got stunned and everything.
Right.
Well, my perspective on this, everybody else's, it was done and everything. I don't want to interrupt anyone. Honestly, this particular scene isn't about Harry fighting. It's about everybody else protecting him and him having to intervene and everything, because Hagrid does get knocked out by one of the Death Eaters. The thing I will say about the battle itself, it's brief, but it's chaotic and hectic, as combat often would be, for the simple fact that even in real life combat, when you're not dealing with magic, even the most best laid plans are not going to follow through with engagement of the enemy. And no matter how well planned out Harry's group was, once you get into battle, whether it's with a gun or whether it's with a wand, the adrenaline kicks in, the emotions kick in, and you're fighting just to keep your own skin on yourself. As far as Hedwig dying, yeah, that honestly, that for me was a real gut punch. Anything I imagine for most people it was. I remember seeing it when I went to see it in theaters. When you see the Avada Kedavra curse used on her, I'm assuming Hedwig was a female owl. I can't remember.
Yes,
probably.
Right.
Okay. Seeing her get killed and seeing the expression on Harry's face, Daniel Radcliffe really had a very good. He is very good at emoting and everything, showing the emotion of the character in the moment. And while he is mourning the death of his pet, probably one of his very first friends, aside from Hagrid, obviously, he's trying to keep himself and he's trying to keep Hagrid alive. And it's just by sheer it's by sheer chance that they make it to the Burrows, to the Weasley home.
Now, in the book, they actually do not go to the Weasleys. This is a very big difference. And my whole perspective on the scene, when they get up there, it's just utter chaos. And they don't show you who the Death Eater is that pulls back, because it's actually two Death Eaters that discover that it is the real, or that's the real Harry. And it's only because, and it's not because of Hedwig. It's actually because he uses one spell because he recognizes a person from the Imperius, or that the Imperius curse is on, the guy from the night bus. And he tries or he instead of trying to stun him, he actually uses Expelliarmus, which is the disarming, and they're like, "That's him. That's the real Harry. That's the real Harry." And they actually rip into him for that. It's like, don't ever use that spell again. Don't ever use that spell again. In this case, you fight to either stun or kill. This disarming is no longer, that's kids' gloves. And it's also one of the things that all Death Eaters know. You basically use that spell against Voldemort in the graveyard. So they know that's your trademark spell against them. Mm-hmm. And pretty much is the trademark spell or spell that Harry uses. Every time he goes up against Voldemort, he uses the damn Expelliarmus. It's like, dude, freaking man up! If you're not going to try stupefying his ass, at least try killing his ass. But so now in the book, they actually go to Nymphadora Tonks' mother, Andromeda Tonks, and her father, and you actually meet Bellatrix's twin sister. It's not in the movie. I wish it had been, because it was a touching moment. But yeah, it would have been good to see Helena Bonham Carter play two different characters instead of just Bellatrix.
One that's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
not bad as a header.
Yeah. Instead, they go to the Burrow, and they have their little touching reunion. And Hagrid is all soaking wet, and he's like, "Yeah, I think I just pissed myself." But one of the funny things is when they pull back and Voldemort basically goes in, another thing they do not touch on is the spell that Harry uses, or his wand acting of its own accord, to fend off Voldemort. Because they show it pretty well. They show his wand just moving in his hand and going straight at Voldemort. Now, the golden flame or the golden beam or flame that shoots out Harry's wand that totally destroys Lucius's wand, nobody knows what that spell is called. I don't even think J.K. Rowling does, to be honest. But
well, go ahead, Orange.
No, go ahead.
The thing I was going to say, if you remember, just like Voldemort's wand, Harry's wand has a phoenix feather inside of it, so that might have something to do with the beam that comes out of it, more than likely.
True, but it's actually explained, well, not in the movie, but it's explained in the books that the reason why Harry's wand acted on its own accord was because Harry is in tuned to Voldemort. Even his wand is in tune to Voldemort. It doesn't recognize Voldemort's wand. It recognizes Voldemort. And that is why his wand acted on its own accord, because it knows that it is his greatest enemy. Now, when they get back to the Burrow, and Lupin and George come in, I just love how Lupin just grabs Harry right up against the wall, hand to his throat, literally. He's like, "What creature sat in the corner of my office the first day Harry Potter came to my office in Hogwarts? What creature?" It's like, holy. And Harry's face during that whole, he's like, he's just slow. He's like, are you mad? And then he's like, what? He's like, and then he just yells at him, "What creature?" And he's like, "A Grindylow." Exactly, Austinator, a Grindylow. And
it would have been super awkward if you forgot.
Yeah, it would have, but it also, if he didn't answer correctly, Lupin would have killed him.
Yeah. So can you ask me a second question or a third emergency secret question, please?
I know, right?
Can I phone
And so we have a trade. Voldemort knew you were being moved tonight. Had to make sure, So then everybody comes in, and there's Kingsley Shacklebolt. He's like, "Wands up. The last word Albus Dumbledore said to the both of us." He's like, "What gave you away? Hedwig? Damn you all!" So basically, then everything goes to pot, and so the next day, or everybody comes back. Ron comes back. Fleur and Bill come back. Fred and Arthur come back, and they go for the whole ear-related humor of "I'm holy." It's like, but it's still good. It was still very touching. Now the next scene that is of talking point, the will of Dumbledore. I absolutely love that scene, but I also wish they had shown it. I wish they had shown the bit that was in the book where Scrimgeour loses it on Harry and is ready to completely blast his ass.
Yeah.
Granger gets Dumbledore's Beetle the Bard book. Ron gets the Illuminator. Harry gets 2 bequeaths, which is bequeaths. Anyway,
Bequests.
Sorry. Anyway, he gets the snitch he got. Dirty rotten snitch. But anyway, he gets the snitch, and I just love the crestfallen expression that Bill Nye. He's like, really? Because he was hoping that it would open in front of Harry, and you even see Hermione actually react. She goes forward to say something, but she doesn't. She holds back, and because she knows the significance.
It's just progress for Hermione.
Yeah, she doesn't know anything about, or she's terrible at Quidditch, but she knows the significance of the snitch. Now, the Sword of Gryffindor was also supposed to go to Harry. And they explained that it's been stolen and it's missing and whatnot. But I do wish that they had, or Harry actually goes off. I cannot remember the exact details, but I think it's so. He's like, you're the freaking government. What the hell are you guys doing to stop him? You know. And then, Scrimgeour, he puts his wand straight to Harry, and he literally burns a hole in his damn clothes. But also the scene where George is kissing, Harry's kissing Ginny, and George comes in with the knife in his dead ear, and he's like, "Morning," winks to get Ginny out of there, and he just looks at Harry. He's like, "Really? You're kissing my sister. Do you want this knife to go into your head?" So what'd you all think of that a little bit?
I don't know. I can't remember because I didn't get to watch it most recently. But when they're giving out, the will sort of thing, like the book and everything, I know that they said that the sword was missing, but I seem to remember them also talking about how even if it wasn't, he wouldn't have been able to have it because it's technically not I was going to say Gandalf, Dumbledore's to get.
Yes, that is true. He's like, the sword may present itself to any worthy Gryffindor, Miss Granger, but that doesn't make it that wizard's property. It was basically the reason why I think that Dumbledore put that bequest in there was not, he knew it wouldn't be presented to Harry. He knew it wouldn't go to Harry, but it was to basically give Hermione a clue because he knew that she would pick up on it. She knew that there's a reason why we need that sword. So what do you all think? Do you think that that could have been the reason why Dumbledore left it in the will?
I'd say so. Just a simple way of trying to remind them of, this is something you're going to need.
Yeah, to kind of give them a hint.
Yeah.
Well, that's the cool thing about this scene with Dumbledore's will. It's almost like he's talking to the three of them, giving them his last bits of advice and a little bit of aid and everything, even without him actually speaking. And I actually remember reading this scene or this part in the book. It was actually where I stopped because I didn't want anything spoiled before I went and saw the movie. I didn't want to know anything. I wanted to walk in blind. I was like, I'm stopping here. I'm not going to read any further. And, well, I've never had the chance to go back and finish reading the bloody book. But yeah, honestly,
what is this that Soul Assassin is doing? Mood killer?
It's a knife.
Oh, it's a knife. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, I think it was a nice bit of balancing with such an intense scene to have a little bit of humor with Jenny and Harry and George and all that stuff, and then of course having the scene with the new Minister of Magic. I find it interesting that the Minister of Magic himself, well, after Fudge, would personally bring the will, although I guess maybe it wouldn't be too surprising, of Albus Dumbledore when somebody else could have done it.
No, this is something that would have been Ministry, or because remember, Dumbledore was not on good terms with Fudge's ministry, but on good terms with Scrimgeour's ministry. Now, also, Scrimgeour was a friend of Dumbledore in the books, or in the whole expanded universe. Now, the wedding in Shaftesbury Avenue is the fourth talking point. Everybody knows the wedding. Now, in the book, Harry is actually disguised. And there's also Victor Krum is at the wedding. They don't touch on it. And I wish they had, because it gives that little bit, or shows that Ron still has a little bit of jealousy when he sees Hermione and him dancing. Now, but she's at this point, she's smitten with Ron. She's completely in the Ron, or Team Ron camp, where a lot of other people wanted her to be in the Team Krum camp. But he then talks to Elphius Doge, and there's Xenophilius Lovegood and Luna. I swear to that, or Xenophilius, who also in...
I love the actor who played him.
Yeah, I've seen him play it he actually plays Mycroft Holmes in Elementary. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the same guy. And then he just goes right up to, I hope you know, Harry, that we have always supported you and that those toadies at the Daily Prophet. We've always supported. It's like, dude, seriously, you are creeping Harry the F out. It's just such a great scene. And then he talks with Doug to learn a little bit more about Dumbledore, and what's her name opens up her mouth. I think it was his aunt, or it was one of Ron's aunts, which was the witch who was talking about Bathilda Bagshot and betraying Dumbledore. I mean, everybody knows Rita Skeeter totally freaking used the Imperious Curse on that woman to get her to talk. Let's face it.
If there's one other person I hate more than Dolores Umbridge, it's Rita Skeeter.
Rita Skeeter, yeah.
I wish the two of them would get cursed with, I don't know, the Slug Curse. I think the Slug Curse would be good. And if they could... The Slug Curse, and if they could get a perpetual infection somewhere on their anatomy, that'd be good too.
Oh, God, seriously.
And for the rest
what,
of their
the world's
natural
worst yeast
lives.
infection?
Huh?
Like the world's worst yeast infection or something?
No, just a perpetual one. It never goes away.
Yeah. So the wedding was very abridged. I wish they had. I mean, this movie was 2.5 hours. I wish that it could have been 2 hours, 45 minutes, or at least 3 hours, because let's face it, this is the last movie, or the last book. They should have covered a lot of stuff. And one of the things, so the Death Eaters come in because Kingsley tips them off that the Ministry has fallen completely, and the Minister of Magic's dead, and the Death Eaters raid the wedding. So they go to Shaftesbury Avenue, they get changed, and they're in the cocoa shop or the coffee shop, and Hermione says his name. They do not explain in the movie that, and this is one of the things I said in my brief review earlier this morning, this is one of the biggest flaws of this movie, why it got a very low objective score from my review. They do not explain that his name, Voldemort, was jinxed. There was a jinx placed on it so that the Death Eaters would know anybody who spoke it, they can find him easily. And it's not just that. It washes away any protective enchantments you have, any protections you have, you are basically left bare open to death. So the Death Eaters go in and whatnot. Everybody knows, or that it's Raoul and Dolohov. What'd you all think? With Ron getting all protective of Hermione, putting his hand up to touch the wound that she got and whatnot. It's like, dude, you're kind of coming off as a real douchebag. He just came off. It was like, it's like he's willing to kill him, and I'm like, well, I mean, Ron. Don't get me wrong. I understand the sentiment, but the way that Rupert presented that, it's like, yikes, dude. This is like Ron's dark side without the Horcrux around his neck. It's like, holy shit. He's like, Hermione, you're the best. He's like, you're the best at spells. He just rubs his thumb on her face. It's like, wow, dude. It's like, holy crap, possessive? She hasn't even said yes yet. Damn. But what did you all think of that scene? We'll go with 24/7 first.
Yeah, that was it was different, especially when you looked at all these movies, you seen this character, and for him to come off that way, it was like, wow, it was so night and day. But that was the whole. But that was the purpose of they basically they made their point and they showed it. That was just an example, and it was a good one to see how he looked it, and yeah, it was real creepy. Yeah, I agree.
Mads?
Yeah, in that moment, you definitely could go back and clip a simp, over top of it, or follow behind it. Though I am with you. It does irritate me a bit that they didn't explain why the importance of not saying its name.
Right.
Yeah, there was way more bouncing around in the book until they figured that out.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hermione, right, who eventually was like, "Oh crap."
It's actually Ron that tips him off later that tips him off, but she notices that they're outside of a Grimmauld place when they actually go there, and which actually will lead into the next talking point. But after AFK and Ambassador, what are your guys' thoughts on the coffee shop duel scene and Ron's dark side?
I don't know. I think they overplayed him a little bit, but I feel like in the movies, Ron is like way more like, I don't know, forward, or maybe that's just the way I'm reading his acting. But it's a turnoff for me as a guy. Way too forward.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I gotta say, to this day, I was always a Hermione Harry fan, and I was upset when that didn't happen.
Yeah. Ambassador?
Well, personally, I guess I'm the contrarian in the room. I didn't necessarily see the way Ron was behaving as him, well, as you all put it, being a simp or being overly possessive. The way I saw it, he was being protective of the people he cares about most, and that's Hermione and Harry, obviously. If it were me in Ron's case, I wasted 2 Death Eaters.
Yeah, we all know that you love to go that we all know that you love to go that route. I mean, everybody remembers discussion of year 5. He wanted to waste Umbridge, man. He wants to kill Malfoy. He wants to kill Umbridge.
To be fair, most of us wanted to kill Umbridge.
Yes, let's be honest.
Yes.
Remember that meme, folks. Admit it. You wanted this bitch dead more than Voldemort.
Yes.
Unlimited simp power. Indeed, Soul.
But personally, for me, I mean, I look at this from the perspective, what would I do? These two jokers come after me and mine. Avada Kedavra. 2 seconds. They're done. Bye.
Yep.
Send the rest of those Death Eater jokers a message. You come after me, I'm smoking your Death Eater ass. I don't care. I don't care who your Dark Lord is. I don't give a rat's freaking ass about pasty-failed, no-nosed, ugly as hell Tom Riddle. I'm smoking your ass. You can take your little Death Eater tattoo and shove it down your throat. I'll make you choke on it.
Damn, dude, you're gone. Well, okay, yeah. The actor was so good that it made me hate Umbridge more. Yeah, Austinator, you're absolutely right. Malfoy is innocent ambassador, you ignorant punk. How's it going, ABC? Always good to see you, buddy. So, Grimmauld plays creature.
Malfoy isn't innocent. Malfoy's a bitch.
Yeah,
really
we got a
bad
lot over in this fifth talking point. Grimmauld Place, creature, and Umbridge. They go to Grimmauld Place because that's the only other place that they could think of to go. And they enter the place. Now, the way that they show Dumbledore it was supposed to be more of a decayed Dumbledore that floats toward him. But it's not. It looks just like Brian Gambon, and he just does the whole kind of scare.
Right.
And I'm like, I wish, or in the book they actually describe this Dumbledore as like death decay, and what he's basically like really salad eyes, almost like a freaking skeleton with a beard kind of look. And I'm thinking, it's a good touch. Don't get me wrong. This was a brilliant CGI move, but yes. I still wish they had gone with a more dead-looking Dumbledore, and instead of just disappearing or whatnot, it was a security measure. It was not I who killed you, or it wasn't us who killed you, or Dumbledore. It was basically set up for Snape. It was set up for Snape, which is how Hermione knows this. Who knows? But I mean, Hermione is basically knowing or all-knowing everything. And whatnot.
And yet she's not a Mary Sue.
No, she's not. She's an intellectual Mary Sue. Or in the movie, she's an intellectual Mary Sue. I'll say that. Intellectual, not pure Mary Sue. Intellectual Mary Sue. Do not confuse me, folks. But yeah, so they get to Grimmauld Place, and they openly mention his damn name again. And they there's a deleted scene that's actually not on the DVDs. But there's a deleted scene where they all look out and they see the Death Eaters, which is from the book. They see them just out there. They're like looking at the building, but they can't enter because of the Fidelis charm that's on it. And they find out that RAB, Regulus Arcturus Black, and they hear Creature. And Creature freaks out when he sees the locket in the book, and he talks about what happened. Creature's Tale, which is the chapter's name. Creature actually goes through the whole spiel. They go to the place where the locket was, and how Regulus actually turned on Voldemort, found out his secret. We do not know how he found it out, but he did find it out. He goes to the lake. He finds out, or he makes Creature drink that potion. And when the Inferi start coming up, he then tells Creature to get out and go. And Harry's just like, but how did you get out of there? Nobody could apparate out of there. Creature just left. Yeah, but how? For Christ's sake, Harry! Elf magic is different than wizard magic.
Yes.
And Hermione basically says that to him. Like, they're different, man. Their magic is different. It operates on a different level. And that is why Creature, Dobby, all other house elves, they have magic that is actually in some ways superior to wizard magic. They can apparate in and out of enchanted areas. They can do whatever is needed to do what is told of them. But unfortunately, Creature, as he says in the movie, no matter how hard, Creature couldn't destroy it or destroy the locket. And what he doesn't say in the movie, he punished himself many times.
Mhm.
I mean, that's probably why he's old and decrepit now, besides the fact that he's old and decrepit. But it's like, holy crap, man. And you get a newfound respect for Creature. And then in the book, Harry puts the locket on or around Creature's neck. And he's like, I think Regulus would want overkill, mate. And Creature just loses it. He just starts crying and wailing. But in the movie, he's like, Mundungus took it, and he's like, find him. And it's like, wow, okay, so they're on the case. And you see Mundungus and also the takeover of the Ministry, where Pius Thickness is now the Ministry or Minister of Magic. And basically the fascist system is now taking over.
Yep.
So then you also, I mean, the Snatcher, the head Snatcher that we all know in this movie is who the head Snatcher is, has that red armband. It's like they couldn't express that any more clearly of what this whole kind of regime is like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, man, you might as well have just slapped a damn swastika on there. But yeah. So
well, it's said and everything by Rowling that Voldemort pretty much was a allegory for a certain short dead German dude who wasn't very pleasant. There was a crappy
I'm not
artist.
monetized. We can say Hitler.
Okay, Hitler.
So yeah,
He wasn't. He wasn't
I don't-
particularly.
I'm going to stick with
too.
you know who.
yeah.
He
I'll
wasn't.
You
say
too.
Voldemort,
I don't
but I'm not
care.
saying the other one.
Yeah, I don't care, YouTube. So demonetize me if you want. I'm not monetized, so you can't do shit. So yes, all right. We'll respect Mads. We'll call the short stash. We'll call short stash.
Short stash works.
You know who too. We'll call him. Yeah, we'll just call him Short Stash. There you go, Short Stash. But anyway, we're not going to be bringing him up anymore. Anyway, that was just an allegory. So
Yep.
they bring Mundungus back, and Dobby turns. Now, did Dobby actually show up in the book?
I don't
in that
remember.
scene? I do not think so. It was Dobby or he only showed up at Malfoy Manor, if I remember correctly, in the book.
Yeah, I don't think I can look it up. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think he does.
Yeah, he doesn't show up when Creature brings Mundungus back. And I just love it. When you turn this place over, don't deny it. You found a locket, didn't you? Why? Was it valuable? He's like, you still have it? No, he's afraid he didn't get enough money for it. Well, I bloody gave it away, didn't I? There you go. Flogging me way out from Diagon Alley. And all of a sudden, this Ministry hag comes up against me, asks me to see me license. And I'm like, I just wish they had stuck with the the way it's done in a book, where he describes the witch face like a toad, and all of a sudden the hand or the scar on Harry's hand just starts itching, and it's like, yeah, that we all know who it is.
No.
I mean, I just wish, but in the movie they show it's Umbridge in the paper, and Mafalda Hopkirk was behind her in the paper, which is the same witch that Hermione takes over. Now they go into the Ministry. They take the Polyjuice potion of the three people, Rookwood, somebody else, and the spider was just coming down in front of my face. That always happens when I do the Harry Potter streams, folks. A freaking spider will just come down from the damn ceiling into my freaking face. I almost ate one 2 streams ago. But anyway, they infiltrate the Ministry, and I wish, or they showed that Mad Eye's eye is on freaking Dolores Umbridge's door. I wish they had taken the eye like they did in the book. Now, they go down where, and they don't really play this part either, Umbridge took the locket to boost her blood status. She was related to the Selvins instead, and that is what pissed Harry off the most. she was using something to boost her blood status while going off on Muggleborns. And you're lying, Dolores. Face all deformative and whatnot. And one must not tell lies. Stupid. It's like, dude, I would not have held it against Harry if he flashed that green instead of
Oh, hell no.
Stupefy.
You don't need, but you don't need to go straight to that curse. I mean, there's so many
True.
others that if you're creative about it, you could work. I mean, Reducto would work very well.
Oh yes, blast her ass in a million pieces, like Ginny does. So, would you?
I think you mean Molly.
Molly Weasley did. Yeah.
No. Well, no.
Yeah.
Ginny when she uses Reducto, she blasted that statue into a million. She ashed that statue.
Yes. It's
So did Molly.
But
Okay,
yes,
I know what you're talking- I
Molly
remember what you're
Weasley
talking about.
blasted Dolores, or not Dolores,
Bellatrix.
but,
Bellatrix.
that's the next stream. Damn it! Don't spoil
Yes, I know.
it. But
This movie is very old. I don't think we're spoiling anything.
I know. So
If you haven't seen it, shame on you.
exactly. So
Shame.
I agree.
I've been watching Harry Potter Folklore and Harry Potter Theory. These are two YouTube channels. And one of them actually brought up a whole thing about only the pure of heart can conjure Patronuses. And I'm like, then how the hell is frickin' Dolores Umbridge able to conjure a fucking kitty cat Patronus? I just don't think that is absolutely true. And if J.K. Rowling says that only the pure of heart can conjure Patronuses, no offense, J.K. Rowling, you're full of shit. In your own lore, you have contradicted yourself. Tolkien, you are not.
That's why you keep a Bible of everything that goes on and who can do what, and where, and why, and what for.
Exactly.
I guess Rowling didn't do that.
She should have, and it's
Yes.
like, for Christ's sake, you broke your damn lore with the Fantastic Beasts movies. But that's a different discussion altogether. So
Yes.
they get out. Yaxley is going after them. They break out of the Ministry, and they're in. Ron gets splinched. And this is now in the movies. The whole splinch thing is introduced here, where I believe it's book 5. It's book
Probably.
5, where they teach apparition and whatnot. Now, what did you all? Now, before we continue on, what did you all think of the whole Grimmauld place, creature, and Ministry infiltration? We'll start with 24/7.
You mean the
whole shebang. What was your thoughts on it?
when you mean when they infiltrated the
Ministry of Magic? Yeah.
I thought it was, for them trying to, wing it. I thought it was I thought they winged it pretty well, and trying to figure out where they had to go, and they pretty much landed at the right spots at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was brilliant. I can't speak for the book, but when I saw it in the movie, I thought it was amazing, especially the way they were able to get out of there. It's when you got a whole place that's against you, and you're trying to fight for your life to get out of there. I thought it was amazing. I was like, wow, they really did all the they, especially considering that they were going against people that had so much more experience, and they're trying to fight their way out of there. It was it just showed what kind of heart Harry has. Like I said, it was on a different level with this movie than what it was with the others. He had to step more up to the plate, and when he did it there at that particular scene, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was pretty funny too, especially when they were trying to figure out where to go, and they were watching what was going on in that place for the first time. Just to look on their faces it wasn't actually their faces because they were already other characters, but just to see the way they were looking when they were trying to see and figure out where to go and what was going on with different people and different situations that they were looking at. I thought, I was like, wow, this is some real ballsy stuff here. So I enjoyed it. It was and it was amazing to see him get out of it.
Yeah. Soul Assassin. What? Anyhow, Mads, what do you think of the whole Ministry infiltration?
Okay, I'll touch on that in a second. I looked it up. I found the actual lore about the Patronuses. And they do say it is a general held belief by the wizarding world that only those of pure heart are able to cast. There are notable exceptions. There are notable ones who have done it, and Umbridge is one of the. But most dark wizards, and this was actually, I just found this out. Most dark wizards will be devoured by maggots coming from their wand and consuming.
Yeah, they're talking about. Yeah, they were talking about one of the Dementor creators, where that happened.
Racidan.
Huh?
Yep.
What was his name?
I'm probably butchering it because there's a whole lot of confusing vowels in here, but yeah. Racidan?
Oh yeah, Racidan or something like that.
As for the infiltration, I really liked it actually.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing. It was that good combination of just all of it. But what really bugs, the only thing that bugs me is how did they know where they needed to be?
They actually had a lot of.
Especially with Ron having to go fix this office of somebody he doesn't.
Yeah, Yaxley's office is still raining. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you give me a floor?
Yeah. It's like, oh no, my wife is being interrogated. Ron, you don't have a wife, right? It's like, dude, you're ready to kill Death Eaters and you're this dim. Wow. You're the one who found RAB, yet you think you have a wife now that she has sucked down some Polyjuice potion? There's just so many jokes to be had about that. AFK, thoughts about the Ministry?
I liked it. It was very stressful and kept you on your toes. I don't know. It was kind of fun because it's kind of like Hermione's second chance at Polyjuice, kind of, because the first time around was just super sloppy, very, rudimentary, and she totally screwed it up for herself. But, in this one, it's like they get it right for all three of them, and they go in with a plan that more or less works, which pretty sweet. So I don't know, it was pretty fun, and also I guess it's kind of sobering in a way because you've seen the Ministry in the last couple books, like it progressively changing. Basically, like it goes from like the third book where it's like oh, Harry, it's okay, you accidentally did this, no worries, move on, to like, oh, you blinked in the wrong direction, let's take you to court kind of stuff. And now in this one, they've got like that statue of like the wizard standing on top of muggles or something like that. And I don't know,
the Magicus Might thing.
Messy situation in a way. And it kind of gives you a different perspective on what is how the other wizards are getting affected by it. Because up until this point, it's always just kind of been Harry's point of view and like the people around him. But like when they're at the ministry, it's like, oh, well, there's this guy who's obviously has to worry about his wife, and you know, there's all these other people here that are still trying to do their jobs, but it's clear that the administration's falling apart. So I don't know. It felt very vital. And
Yeah. Ambassador.
Honestly, I enjoyed the part and everything where they're at Grimmel Place, Sirius's the Black Homestead, and getting all the backstory that we got there with Creature and everything, and then of course Mandungus gets dragged in by Dobby and Creature, and seeing 3 final year, I guess you would say, wizards, because I guess they're close to being close to graduation. Infiltrate the ministry. It was slapstick for me a lot of the time. I think that was the idea. I mean, yeah, it was dangerous. They were going quite literally into the beast, because the Ministry of Magic is no longer a friendly place for anybody, including those that work there, unfortunately. And to see the look on Hermione and Harry's faces and Ron's face when they see that new statue, you almost get the impression that if you didn't know any better, those were actual Muggles or just normal humans that had been like petrified and turned to stone. And yeah, that was just unsettling. And then, of course, the comedy of errors that we have when the 3 of them are in there and Ron thinks he's married to this woman and he's not. And then they just stumble into that trial. Yeah. And quite literally, they literally stumble into that trial. And Hermione's already there. You've got Dementors being held back by that force field. And I'm like, jeez, that's a lot of Dementors. Like,
yeah, it was a Patron, or it was Umbridge's Patronus that was bleeding up there for the Dementors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, jeez, that's more than a gaggle. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, they're running like hell to get out of there after they're discovered. And Ron getting splinched. That wound looked painful. And I mean, honestly, that was the idea. But, yeesh. When you get hurt in the magical world, when you get hurt in the magical world, you get hurt in the magical world, and it ain't an easy fix. Kind of like with what happened in Chamber of Secrets when our good friend, what's his face? Kenneth Branagh's character. I can't remember the name of him. Completely.
Damn, I'm blanking too.
Huh?
I'm blanking too.
Okay. Essentially, he obliterates the bones in Harry's arm, and
he obliterated just the memory of him. Dang.
Yeah.
Oh my god, man! He was that bad of a character that I just
Gilderoy Lockhart.
Took my wand, put it to my head, and said, "Obliviate that character."
Gilderoy Lockhart.
Gilderoy Lockhart. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, and just real quick to the chat, the Austin Air. Thank you for subscribing, sir. I deeply appreciate it very much.
That's all. A gaggle of Dementors.
Yeah. I just turned. What do you call a group of Dementors? A gaggle.
A dementation.
Actually, I'd probably go with an "oh hell no."
Oh hell, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's a good one, Matt. I like that.
That is a good one.
Can you correct me if it's in this book? Didn't they have to actually go to the mental hospital where Neville's parents are, and they bump into Gilderoy Lockhart? I mean,
that was in book 5. That was in book 5 when they went to see Arthur Weasley at St. Mungo's, and they bumped into Neville and saw him with his parents.
Okay, sorry, completely off topic. I was just reminded of that.
It's all right. Hey, it's not really. It's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, obliterate doesn't work like that. at the beginning of the movie when Hermione uses it on her family or whatever, and then it like
Obliviate,
erases
yeah.
thing on the photos. I'm like, dude, that's supposed to just do memory.
Yeah, that's actually a thing that a lot of people talked about. Was she erases her parents' memory with the Obliviate or with Obliviation,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, that would wipe their entire memory. That would destroy all of their memories, not just one or two,
Actually,
all of it. She modified their memories. She didn't wipe their memories.
Mm-hmm.
In the books and whatnot. This was a very big contention, and it was bad writing also.
yes.
Now, they're all
Because she actually does go back and reverse it afterwards.
Yes, she does. She goes right back after the Battle of Hogwarts. Now, because they're in Australia thinking they're somebody else entirely. And actually, there's a deleted scene where Yaxley, the guy who was chasing after them in the Ministry, shows up at her house, and everything is just gone. It's like a 30-second. Yeah, it was a 30-second deleted scene. Now, they're all in the forest. They fixed Ron with some Dittany, and they're all trying to destroy the Horcrux. Descendio, Reducto, Incendio, Descendium, the whole Megillah. I mean, the only thing they really didn't use was Avada Kedavra, but it's like, why didn't you just use Bombardo Maxima? I mean,
I thought of that myself.
It's like,
Of course,
you
if I
guys
would
could
have
have
done
just
anything anyway.
put a freaking piece of dynamite right next to that sucker and just put it next to a rock and just blast. But yeah, they tried everything, and Ron, in his sling, he's like, does it bother you that Dumbledore sends us after these things, but he doesn't tell us how to destroy them?
Right.
It's like, I mean, hey, Ron, good point there, dude. Good point, but you're kind of sounding like a douchebag. So we get and this brings up the sixth part, the side effects of the Horcrux, or Horcrux side effects, where if you wear it around your neck too long, it brings out your worst attributes. Where Harry snaps at Hermione, and then Ron is taking it, or Ron is wearing it, and he's just getting real freaking jealous, man. He's like, I swear to God, Harry, if you make a move, I'm gonna rip your goddamn. I shouldn't go there, but anyway, but yeah, it's
basically like the One
really
Ring.
goes. Yeah, it really is in a way, and so they have the fight, and there's also putting up the enchantments and whatnot, where the Snatchers go by. And she has her perfume, and Mr. Short Stash Lover, armband snatcher guy, I can't even remember his damn name. But anyway, he goes by, he's like, what's that smell? And it's her perfume, and Ron catches it at the worst moment. He catches them back, and he's like, as much as I like your perfume, Hermione, just don't wear any from now on. And that's what he hears, and it sets him off. And it's like, yeah, I would be set off too if I kind of had a evil, possessive thing around my neck and was,
That's not a nice thing to go wrong.
What?
Evil possessive thing.
No, I was talking about the Horcrux.
I know, I just couldn't resist.
You walked into that one, Orange. You walked into that
the
one.
thing is, he is kind of evil and possessive in this situation because Hermione's kind of playing housewife to Harry, cutting his hair, and Harry's just sitting there like, yeah, I'm the king of this. I'm the king in this chair, man. She's like, oh my God, what? And she's cutting his hair, and he's like, he reaches automatically and back when she goes, oh my God. He's thinking that there's something on the back of his neck. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I would probably be feeling around my neck too after she pulls that kind of crap. But she then goes over how the sword was stolen, how it's goblin made, and anything that impregnates the blade. They actually use the word impregnate in the book. And I'm like, this got a whole new level of weird. It's impregnated with basilisk venom, is how they put it in the book, and I'm like, wow, that's why Dumbledore left it there. And then Ron just comes in. He's like, sword is stolen. Yeah, I'm still here, by the way. And he's like, all right, what the hell's going on into you? All right, I'll spit it out. But don't expect me to be grateful because there's one more damn thing we gotta find. I thought you knew what you signed up for, man. Yeah, so did I. It just go. Oh my gosh, the way that they fought each other in that scene, I honestly thought it was gonna come to fists. I honestly did. What did you all think of that scene, where Ron just continuously gets darker and darker because of the Horcrux?
I think if it went to fists, Harry wouldn't have stood a chance.
No, it wouldn't, because Ron was way bigger and more Irish.
He was also raised in a family with a bunch of boys, so
he's a scrapper.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did you think, 24?
Yeah, I thought. Well, like I say, it reminded me of The Ring, of Lord of the Rings, where you holding on to something for so long and it starts, tainting your spirit, and you, of course, with if you had any negative thoughts, then it looks like it played into that too, and it looked like a thing of jealousy, and but you can tell that it was. You could tell that it wasn't from him personally. You could tell that it was all something that was being it was all manifesting from the necklace. So
yeah,
I just to see it all play out, I was like, wow, I thought it was actually gonna go a lot further than what it did, and I was just glad that it didn't.
Mm-hmm. Ambassador.
Well, what about Mads and AFK? They can go first. I don't mind.
Mads.
Thought I did kind of weigh in. No,
yeah, she did.
Okay.
Well, my own way.
Cancel Mads. No, just kidding. Keep going. I would never cancel you. I would never cancel you. I would fear you too much if I did.
I think for this thingy, I don't know. I got really annoyed with Ron in this part of the movie and the book, and I was really annoyed when that happened. And I was like, just leave, please. You're just bringing the mood down. So I don't know. It was really obnoxious, I guess, and I don't know. You see it coming, but I guess in a way it fits if you're watching the movie and you find yourself also growing frustrated with the fact that it's taking so long for anything to happen. You can also kind of feel
there is a bit of a lull.
Are you serious? Yeah. Like, I guess that would be my main both criticism and compliment, is that in the book it takes forever and it's meant to like feel like a grind for the characters, but then in the movie it's a seriously painful grind. And they don't speed it up in places where they could have probably. But the fight, it was necessary. And yeah.
Yeah. Ambassador.
Honestly, this part of the movie, I feel like I'm being the contrarian, but I actually enjoyed this part of the movie because we got everything in all the other movies has been always so rush, doing something. We get time with Ron, Harry, and Hermione, and I love that. I mean, yeah, I understand where y'all are coming from. This part of the movie where they're in the woods and they're bouncing around and everything, and they're trying to figure out how to play hell to destroy the Horcrux, and Ron's turning into a bit of a pain in the ass. Although semi-justified, I get it. But Harry does say it. What did you think was going to be going on? We'd be staying in 5-star hotels and you'd be home by Christmas? No. We're trying to save the world, dude. Use your head. We're trying to save the freaking world. We're trying to destroy the big bad. It's not going to be easy. But the thing that I did, like as I was saying, the thing I did appreciate is we got some time with our three mains, and honestly, I enjoyed that because these three actors have been working together for years now, and at this point, they have a good rapport. They know their parts, and they know how their parts have evolved over time, and the relationships that each one of these characters have with one another. And honestly, it's moments like this in movies that I really like. And again, I understand where everybody's coming from, but for me, the slow parts in movies are something that I enjoy. So,
Yeah. And so Ron leaves, and then basically in one scene, Harry kind of tries to cheer up Hermione, and they do that little dance thing, and there's that one beat that you think, and don't even bother denying this, folks. You all probably thought the same damn thing. They were going to kiss.
It was so.
But they don't.
Mean.
Yeah.
yeah.
And even Emma Watson, she's like, yes, that scene was very charged, and believe me, there was a second there that I thought I was going to kiss him, and I'm like, why didn't you?
Well,
you have gone out of your way in 20 different ways in this book from the book or in this movie from the book. Why didn't you have that kind of very regretful kind of you would have actually gotten a lot more SJWs into this whole thing. To be quite frankly honest, you would have had that kind of drama of the SJWs to just love this moment, but they didn't do it. But it's like, damn it, I wanted them to kiss. But yeah, it's like, wow, man, you guys should have just went for it. It would have been the biggest regret of your life. We tell Ron nothing.
Well, and not to really spoil anything, but technically towards the tail end of the movie, Hermione and Harry do kiss, but it's not actually them.
Oh,
right. I'm sorry. It took me a second to get that.
Yeah.
It took me a while.
They go. Yeah. So
we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah, they go to Godric's Hollow because, well, Harry wants to go there. He thinks, or Hermione thinks the sword might be there. Now, in the book, they actually do use the rest of the Polyjuice potion to pretend to be just two regular people, and there's somebody watching them. Now, Harry or Hermione sees another Deathly Hallows image. She sees it in the book that Dumbledore left her. And then she goes to Godric's Hollow, sees Ignatus Peverell, which is actually Harry's ancestor. And then they see a woman by the church. And he's like, you're Bathilda Bagshot, aren't you? Well, she's not talking exactly. And, well, we all know why. She's kind of got a forked tongue at this moment. But,
yep.
So she takes them. She can't even light a damn candle. She is decrepit. She then speaks parcel tongue to Harry that should have just tipped him off. It's like,
Harry can't tell parcel tongue, though. That's his problem. Harry can't tell if it's parcel tongue. He just hears people talk.
Yeah. You know what? I was actually going to say that, but AFK, great catch. Harry doesn't, or he cannot distinct, because he learned it from an unnatural, or he learned it in an unnatural way, because he himself is a Horcrux. But, yeah, Nagini actually, at this point, just rots the body and just comes. Now, in the book, it is far more graphic. She comes right out of the damn neck of this body as it's withering and whatnot. She just kind of swoosh right out of the neck, and it's like, why couldn't they show it like that? I mean, they are going full-blown nuts in this movie. They really should kind of give it a PG-13, but make it a hard PG-13. So Harry's fighting Nagini. Now, in the book, he continues to converse with Nagini. He's like, no. And she's like, yes. Yeah. And she's actually contacting Voldemort at this point too, while she's fighting Harry.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they and I wish they had put this in where Harry and Hermione are just out the window disapparating, Voldemort just right there, because in the book he is there. You literally see through Harry's eyes, or Harry literally sees through Voldemort's eyes, where he screams in rage as they just disapparate to get out of there. And but in the movie, of course, they show it differently, where she uses Confringo, and it bounces off of Nagini, and also, well, hurts Harry's wand.
Yeah.
Not that wand, you sick-minded perverts. But but yes, his Phoenix Core wand is broke at this point. What did you all think of the whole Nagini sequence in Godric's Hollow?
Scary as balls, man. It comes out of nowhere, And also, it's
scary as balls out of nowhere. Jeez, where is the dirty-minded people in the chat? Somebody make
no. Well, and this was obviously hang on. No, this one is, I guess, a predecessor, right, to the Magical Beasts movies. So it's like having Nagini in any human form is kind of a shock. So
yeah,
I don't know. That was pretty crazy, and I like the kind of lead in with Harry not understanding that she's speaking parcel, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess that it would be kind of weird. It'd be like you're born with a universal translator but don't realize you have it. So yeah, it was cool. Jeez.
Oh.
Where is your parents?
Yeah, where is your parents, baby Megatron? Shame on you. Mads, what did you think of Nagini's sequence?
Apparently happy as his adopted parent. It's been very fascinating watching the chat.
Yeah,
See, that whole Nagini thing, for me, is my one irritation throughout the whole series. Is I really wish that they had stuck with what they did in the first movie, where anytime he's interacting with the snake, speaking parcel tongue,
it's in English.
It's in English to him, which adds to the confusion in certain scenes. Like if you're gonna do either go one way or the other, and if you're gonna have them speaking parcel tongue back and forth, put subtitles in, because there was a lot of good information that's lost in those scenes.
Mm-hmm. How you doing, Storyman Jack? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. 24/7. What'd you think of the Nagini scene?
I thought it was awesome. I just, again, not reading the book, but just seeing it the way it went down the movie. I was like, wow. The one thing I noticed is, just listening to you all, is that there's always a whole different side to what we saw in the movies, compared to what actually happened in the book. And I appreciate, everybody chiming in, and, I'm looking at the chat and listening to y'all, and yeah, you guys know the difference, and I don't. So just to hear the extra information to let me understand, okay, this is what happened in the book. This, compared to what you saw in this movie, it makes it helps out a lot, especially when you don't know what happened in the book. It definitely it puts a different perspective on it. But I enjoyed it when I saw it. I thought it was raw, and especially just to see it in the Harry Potter movie. I mean, we saw a lot of different things, as we saw the different movies, but just to see it more on, it was more like on a horror tip, Like it was more darker. It was grittier. You know, you get to see more intense stuff than what you saw in the other movies because the stakes are higher. They they're really fighting for some shit. And I mean it all led to this moment. But just to see it all play out, I enjoyed it. I just like to see how they were up against the snake and everything, and I was like, wow. Just I didn't. I know when the first time I saw it, I didn't expect for that to happen, but I was like, oh shit. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, I liked it, and man, I just wish I would have seen, like now that you all are really describing what happened in the book. I wish I would have seen what happened in the book.
Yeah.
It's like it would have been more interesting than what we got. And I guess what it all boiled down to is, when you got people that never saw the book, and they might not be able to take the book version of it on film. You got, they might have to tame it down a little bit just to make it more what they call it digestible, to the normies. And yeah, so that's basically. But yeah, I liked it, but like I said, just to hear y'all talk about how it really went down, I'd rather have seen that.
I'd say it's never too late if you wanted to read Harry Potter books. I would say the earlier ones, the movies did a better job of keeping to them and keeping the details. But
Right.
I mean, it's worth reading if you want later on, because there's a lot of meat that gets cut from the movies, including like a whole bunch of like side plots that like really build the universe and the characters more.
Right.
And I mean, I'd say it's worth it if you want to explore more of the Harry Potter world.
Yeah.
Well,
And
actually, it's funny you say that. I know. Have you played the game?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I owned all the Harry Potter games. I had the Quidditch game. I had all of them. I had the all the way from the Chamber of Secrets. The games were actually pretty good, and and I remember playing the Deadly Hallows game, and I enjoyed that. That was a lot different than all the other previous games because again it was on the stakes were higher in the story, and it was enjoyable. If you're a fan, trust me, the game is so dumbed down from the movie, and then the movie's dumbed down from the actual book. So, but just see, that EA actually worked on it. It was I liked it. And I can't wait to play this new Hogwarts game that I've seen pop up in the last week or so. That thing looks amazing.
Yeah, I've heard that the Hogwarts Legacy, I think it's called.
Yeah, that thing looks, and it looks like it has all the the softer parts of from the first few movies, and it looks like it has elements from all the rougher parts, leading into like not to say that it has that they're following the same storylines, but it looks like the range of how stories can be light to very dark. Looks like they're gonna have the whole thing in this new game that's coming up. And from what I hear from people that have stepped away from Harry Potter and and all things from it, it's of course a lot of people have grown up and there's a lot of people that are looking at this and they're like, this new game is something that a lot of people that don't even mess with Harry Potter are willing to go back and give it a chance because of how good it looked. So when you have people that have not messed with the franchise in a while, willing to give it a chance to come back to play something new and fresh like that, and the way they portrayed it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out myself.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So the next scene, and this is actually another part that is harms. Say what? Oh yeah.
No, it's okay. I wanted to get my 2 cents on this real quick.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. It's all right. No worries. Honestly, for me, the scene in Godric's Hollow, there were a lot of parts to it that I enjoyed. The one that I really appreciated when Harry finally got to visit the grave of his parents, and when Hermione used her wand to create that little wreath of pink flowers and everything for them. Honestly, I would have loved if they had lingered on that just a little bit longer. Maybe even, I don't know, for those of you that read the book, if he had actually gone into the ruins of their house. And I think if they actually did that, I would have loved to have seen that, because that's those little character moments that I really enjoyed. And everything. And just, even though he was an infant when he was there, just to see where his mother and father raised him for the little while that they had him. And then, of course, we get the whole situation with Nagini. And yeah, that had a very horror movie vibe to it, which David Yates, I think, pulled off very, very well. I don't know if he has a background in doing horror movies or not, but that had the horror movie vibe that you all picked up on, and I did enjoy that. I did enjoy that scene. As far as the parcel tongue, yeah, I would love to know what they said back and forth with one another, Harry and Nagini. So, anyway, that was all I wanted to say. Orange, go ahead and move on.
The White Doe and the death of the locket, where they're in the Forest of Dean after they escape from Nagini. Now, this is another part where omissions of the story hurts the movie. How does the White Doe, or the person who casts the White Doe, as we know it is Snape, how did they know, or how does he know where they are? Because in the book, we know that he knows where they are because Hermione has the portrait from Grimmauld Place of Filius Nigellus, which is, he is also a former headmaster to Hogwarts.
That's right.
And he has, she casts a spell to cover his eyes, but he hears that they're in the Forest of Dean, and that is where the doe shows up. Now, believe it or not, this is something I recently learned. Do you know how they did the White Doe? It wasn't just purely CGI. They had a reference animal, and it was a dog in a light jacket.
That's awesome.
In an LED jacket, a jacket full of LEDs. They put a dog, and they couldn't get that damn dog to listen. And so they're like, this was such a bad idea. But anyway, so Harry sees the doe. He follows the doe, the doe. He follows the doe, not the dog and doe. Anyway, and why he decided to strip, even I don't know. But in the book, they actually go over it. Make it more challenging, might be able to get the sword easier because the sword is in the ice. And, well, why didn't you take the damn Horcrux off, Harry? Because the Horcrux tries choking his ass to death. Mm-hmm. And so Ron shows up like frickin' Frankenstein on the other side of the ice, pulls him out, and somehow has the sword in hand. I mean, did he jump in and pull him out, or what? Because Ron's not really wet.
Yeah, he was.
So there's another mess. Yeah, he was.
He wasn't.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't wet. So it's like,
yeah, he wasn't.
How did you get the sword? Because you couldn't use Accio, or you couldn't use the summoning spell Accio. It wouldn't work like that. You had to be worthy to get the sword. So he's like, are you bloody mental or whatever? And he's like, so I guess that was you who cast the doe as well? No, I thought that was you. No, my Patronus is a stag. And so he's like, all the more, I can't handle it. The thing affects you or me worse than it does for you and Hermione. All the more reason. He's like, I don't know. He's like, then why are you here? Why are you here? You're going to have, this is your moment, buddy. This is your freaking moment. And so they crack open the Horcrux, and I'm like, whoa. When it just explodes with like black tar or whatever it was, it was literally something out of a horror movie when I saw that. I'm like, holy shit. I was in the theater and I'm like, holy shit. And people looked at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, how the hell did that not scare anybody else? I mean, but some people did jump, but it was like, holy shit. And you can hear Voldemort saying, I know your heart and it is mine. Which is a book straight from the book, or basically everything that the locket says is straight out of the book. Least loved by a mother who craved a daughter, least loved by a woman who prefers your friend. And it has the riddle Harry and the riddle Hermione coming out. And I gotta say, in the book, it's actually tamer. It's actually tamer because they're not naked when they're kissing. They're actually clothed in the book. But in the frickin' movie, I'm like, holy shit, they went there. I gotta give them props for the fog going up at the right moment in certain areas on Hermione's anatomy. Because it's like, how the hell did they actually get? Because I know there are like 18 or 19 at the time of filming, but it's like, whoa, you guys went there, and you went there in ways that was not not book friendly or even child friendly. You guys went full blown naked makeout, and it's like, damn. But the thing is, this is something that would affect Daniel Radcliffe, because he would go full nude on stage later on in Broadway and in another movie called Horns. So yeah, everybody has all the women who are fans of Daniel Radcliffe have seen his wang. Thank God I haven't, because I'm not that big of a fan. But yeah, it's like, whoa, dude. So Ron just wastes that Horcrux. He's like, all right, I'm going to kill you two now. He just wastes it, man. He just slashes that sucker. And Hermione, or then coming up after Hermione. Now, we're going to get to that, but I want to hear all your thoughts, everybody's thoughts on the whole Horcrux blowing up like I could make a sexual joke in this instance of how that Horcrux came out, but no. Mads, you go first this time.
I'm trying to be good, but yeah, don't do the blowing up thing. Come on.
It's a gusher.
Yeah, I don't understand why they needed to have them go, full Nike.
Yeah.
No clue. It's not even like it was, was it just for ratings or that confused me. The rest of it, and again, as you said, this thing has a mind of its own. It's going to try and kill you. Mm-hmm. Take it off before you jump in the lake. I even said that as I was reading the damn book.
Yep. I mean, who the hell is going to be in the middle of the damn forest and say, oh, look, a locket. Pick up, yank, run. Who the hell's going to do that?
It's going to grow legs and walk away.
You're damn right. But yeah. So, 24/7?
Yeah, like I said, I don't know the difference between, what happened in the book and the movie. Yeah. But, yeah, I saw when they when they destroyed that thing. It was pretty interesting. You know, let me ask you, just as I'm sitting here thinking about it, what was actually the difference between what we saw in the movie compared to what actually happened? Because I don't know the difference. Now I'm just now that you're talking about the scene.
The main difference was they actually were very, very,
Similar?
very faithful to it. It was very faithful to the book. The only real difference was they made them naked and foggy instead of Hermione's evil thing wrapping around Harry like a snake and then kissing him. That was basically the only real difference. I mean, they kind of went really hard PG-13 to kind of play to the prepubescence, but that was about it.
Yeah, I mean,
and also instead of it being like a black liquidy kind of Voldemort, it was I think it was more of a fog, if I remember right, Mads. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I know when I saw that part, you know, it you know, it got a little steamy, so I was like, oh well, and just see the look on Weasley's face, you know, when you saw that shit, it's, you know, because actually to be real with you, that's about the closest if that I can recall of anything that I've seen in a Harry Potter movie that was close to what, yeah, that was actually sexual. I've never seen anything else, and when I saw that, I was like, yo, they're fucking, you know, they're taking off the gloves in this fucking movie. That, hey, I'm ready for part 2. Let's make it happen. So I thought it was interesting. I was like, shit, you know, I guess they figured, yeah, we only got one more movie left. You know.
Well, they were all 17 at that point, right?
Yeah, they're all adults. Well, wizarding
there
adults,
you go.
but yeah, small
But,
one.
you know, I
Don't
mean,
worry, we got a spell to fix that problem.
Right, but you know, but to just see all the movies, and then you get to that point, and it's like, all right, they're starting to turn up the volume on this shit. I thought it was like, well, I guess we're about to, you know, it's about to be no holds barred in here. So I thought it was interesting. I liked it.
I'm a no hold barred. Huh.
Yeah, I was ready for more smog to mix it up. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. What was your thoughts on that scene?
You know, it was a thing. No, it was cool. It was dramatic.
Oh yeah, it was a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a very dramatic point because at that point it'd been boring as heck for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and then they, you know, get back, and yeah, I don't know. It was very similar to the book. I don't have any complaints. So I think they did a good job. I can forgive the wispy fog, although I do remember seeing that for the first time and going, really? But you know, everybody likes the little romance, I guess, and they gave it a little bit to the Harry and Hermione fans.
Hermione,
you know,
crew. Yeah.
check it out.
I mean, she was
a fanfic.
Yeah, she was devouring his face in that. Let's be honest, folks. That Hermione was really sucking face with Harry. I mean, she was just, give it to me, baby. It's like, holy shit, man, calm down.
It was built out of Ron's insecurities, kind of. So, I mean, it makes sense that Hermione would be the one macking.
Yeah, right?
Unless he's secretly insecure because he wants Harry. And maybe he just ends up with Hermione because, you know, like, weird.
Oh, damn, woman, you went there. Okay.
I'm a conspiratorial person. What can I say?
Ambassador Alistair Moody?
This scene, yeah, as AFK just hit upon, it is very much a psychologically driven moment because the Horcrux is doing everything in its power to prevent Ron from destroying it. And it is pulling out every psychological ploy that it possibly can, which is very reminiscent of what what I would call the shade of Tom Riddle does in Chamber of Secrets. I mean, it goes for the gusto. It detects every emotional and psychological weak point that it can on Ron. Now, the thing I will remark upon, I don't remember who directed the remake of House on Haunted Hill, if it was David Yates or if it was someone else. But when the Horcrux opens and you see that big inky cloud and all of the stuff coming out of it, it reminded me of the dark entity that is shown at the end of the remake of House on Haunted Hill. I don't know if there was some inspiration from House on Haunted Hill or not, but honestly, that was the thing that came to my mind when you see the portion of Voldemort's soul and everything come out of that thing. So, honestly, yeah, I thought the same thing. Harry, take the freaking necklace off. It's not going to sprout legs and walk off. Like, how? I guess he was in a rush. He wasn't thinking clearly. So that could be something that would happen with some of us. You're about to go in and try and get this sword, and you're like, "Oh crap! This water's gonna be colder than a well digger's ass in January," and you're like, "Jeez, okay, let's just do this and get it over with." And then that Horcrux just goes like, "Nope, you're not getting that sword. Nope, you're not destroying me." And then, well, Ron comes in for the save. And I will say there's a moment after that whole thing where all three of them are back together, and Harry asks Hermione, "Are you still mad at him?" She's like, "I'm always mad at him."
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch on. Where he's like, "Everything's forever." And Hermione just goes off on Ron. Now, in the movie or in the book, there is a slight difference. Harry actually has to cast a protection charm or the Protego between Ron and Hermione because she was going to kick his ass. But they toned it down in the movie where she's like, "You complete ass, Ronald Weasley! You show up after weeks!" Wait, what is that? Hey! And you say, "Hey! Oh, don't think this changes anything." "Oh, of course not. I just destroyed a bloody Horcrux! Why wouldn't that change anything?" And then he gives his whole thing of how he found her, which is through the Deluminator that Dumbledore left him. And Dumbledore, how the hell would he know this? How does Dumbledore know that Ron would just fuck off like he did? Now, he goes, and he basically says the most cheesy, cringy, but very romantic reason of how he got back. And he's like, a big or ball of light shot out of it, and it hit me right here, honey. And it said your name, or it was you saying my name. I'm obviously dramatizing, folks, but it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, dude, just like Harry said, man, keep mentioning that ball of light going into your heart, and she'll come around. So they show the whole
Shot to
how
the
he has
heart,
a new wand,
and you're to blame. You give love a bad name.
Yeah. Okay. Good one.
Yeah.
Now they want to go see Xenophilius Lovegood, and Ron basically goes full simp. He's like, "Yeah, right. Hermione's right. Anybody who wants, or all in favor?" And she's just looking at him like, "Have you lost your fucking mind?" I mean, like, simp. It's. I mean, it's. Even though that movie is like, I don't know, 8 or 12 years old or something. I just wish this is something that I would clip if I was Lyndon Howe. I mean, I would just send send him that clip and then have the whole PewDiePie thing of him giving a simp alert. Simp! 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 And it would just be perfect. It would be freaking perfect. So they go to see Xenophilius. And keep your hands off the dirigible plums, folks. Don't
I
make
want
me tell you twice.
dirigible plum.
I know. I was wondering about those things. So he tells them the tale of the three brothers and the Deathly Hallows, and you get that little Tim Burton kind of a story animation, and it's a hey, that is a beautiful freaking. Now you're plucking a stone out of a river. How the hell does it look so pointed like that? That's a question for a weird day. But I absolutely love the animation of that tale that Hermione narrates, and it's just beautifully narrated. And Antioch, I believe, was the one who owns the Elder Wand.
Resurrection Stone. No.
Antioch is the Resurrection, and Cadmus is the Elder Wand.
Cadmus is the Elder Wand. Antioch is the Resurrection Stone, and Ignotus. That's how you pronounce the name. Ignotus was the one that had the cloak of invisibility. And AFK, you have a good night. Thank you for being here. You have a good one. We'll catch you on the next one.
I just caught that.
Yeah,
Thank
totally.
you, AFK.
Sorry I couldn't be here for the whole thing, but it's awesome, and you guys are super cool. So thanks for having me.
Yep, you're very
Always,
welcome,
AFK.
AFK. Have a good night.
Yeah,
Peace.
Folks, sub to AFK.
Yes.
Now,
Seems as we're in a brief break, dirigible plums, they enhance one's awareness.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. I did not know that.
enhance one's awareness.
That's
Ron could use one of those.
I think we all could use one occasionally.
Yeah. And so Xenophilius also, Harry Potter just shows up on his front door and it's like, oh, yes, this is exactly what I need to save my Luna. Yeah, you crazy bastard. So they also go into a point where it's not perfectly explained. Voldemort. 3 freaking Death Eaters just start wasting that building. Hey, no, I got him. Oh, shit, dude, you're blowing up my house. Why are you blowing up my house? Now, in the book, Hermione actually does something, even though freaking Xenophilius deserves all the shit he gets because of it. But she actually is like, we need to let them see us. It's like, yeah, she's crazy.
Yep.
But anyway, they actually drop down, let the Death Eaters see them, and then they disapparate in midair. How the hell she's able to turn in midair to disapparate, but yeah. So they get to the...
Because Hermione is a smooth pimp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she is. She is a pimp. But anyway, so they get to another place.
Pimp.
Yeah, she's also a smooth criminal. Anyway.
Yes, she is.
So
you've been struck by a smooth Hermione.
There you go.
There you go. Now they disapparate. They're in a different place, and they run smack right into. This is completely different in the books. They run smack into the Snatchers, and in the book, it's because Harry actually drops the V word. Not that V word, you sick, twisted freaking freaks. But anyway, he drops the Voldy word. Yeah, that's better. The Voldy word, not the V word. But that's when the Snatchers actually just apparate, and they're like, come on out. We don't care who we curse. That's actually straight from the book. And yes, Robert Greene, the book part of this was way better. Where they start running through the forest, it's like, yeah, run. It's a lot better if you do. And then Hermione just gives him a stinging jinx, and they're like, change of plan, we're not. Or the whole Vernon Dudley, Penelope Clearwater. Wasn't she another student, if I remember correctly, Penelope Clearwater? Or is she somebody else? Yeah, she was another student. It's like, why does that name sound so freaking familiar?
Sounds like a character out of Twilight.
Don't go there. Anyway, so they take him to Malfoy Manor, and this is our last talking point. Malfoy Manor and the death of Dobby, which is a freaking tearjerker, I'm telling you. So they get to Malfoy Manor. It happens. I have serious questions about the whole lore thing with Hermione and how the hell she wasn't twisted in some way or traumatized in some way from being tortured so much by Bellatrix, because Bellatrix literally cut mudblood into her arm, tortures her numerous times with the Cruciatus Curse. She comes out of it like fine. I mean, maybe a little shaken, but it's like, I'm sorry. That would have at least, for somebody that young, you would have been hit. You would have at least had some sort of break in your mind. You would have had it, because I've actually done a fan fiction where Hermione does have a kind of like dark side where she just goes off killing, or she goes hunting in my fan fiction where she just went hunting old Death Eaters after the whole war was over. She went after Malfoy. She went after all the other survivors of the war that were Death Eaters, and she just wasted them.
So
it was a very dark. It was a very dark fan fiction, folks.
So essentially, you turn Hermione into the bride from Kill Bill. I can respect that.
Yeah, I know. I know you could. But anyway, so Dobby gets called there, and they also bring out the mirror again, which was never explained, and this was due to an omission from the 5th movie and from the 5th book, where Sirius gives Harry a mirror, a full mirror in this case, which they can talk back and forth with, but he didn't use it because he felt it might compromise Sirius's safety. Now, in the movie, we just see the shard, and he keeps on seeing an eye or Dumbledore or somebody that looks like Dumbledore in it. And, well, whoever it is, they send Dobby in. And this is another part that is very, very different. They resolve the Peter Pettigrew and Harry Potter relationship. Now, as we all know, in the 3rd movie, Harry Potter saves Peter Pettigrew from being killed by Sirius and Lupin. Mm-hmm. That actually has a very profound magical impact. It causes Wormtail, Peter Pettigrew, to be indebted to Harry. And in the book, when they try to escape, Pettigrew grabs Harry with the silver hand around Harry's throat, and he's like, "You're going to kill me? You owe me, Peter. You owe me." And because he cashes in on that, basically, he did not expect what happens next, where Pettigrew, in the book, he kills himself. He literally chokes himself to death with that silver hand. Mm-hmm. Now, in the movie, well, we get the PG-13, or we get the PG reaction where Dobby just stuns him and takes the wand. Who gets his wand? And there's also a difference with Griphook, because they hear somebody say, "Get the goblin," and he tells Griphook, "Tell them it's fake. Tell them the sword is fake, please." And Griphook listens. He actually listens, but it goes different. And Warwick Davis, man, such a great freaking actor, plays Phileas Flitwick and also Griphook in this scene.
Yep.
Where Bellatrix, like, "Who got into my vault? Last time I was in your vault, the sword was there. There's no place safer than Gringotts." And she just gives him a little nick on the cheek. "Count yourself lucky, goblin," but the same can't be said with this one. And they start dueling after Ron comes in. He's like hell. He has murder in his heart in that moment, because his bae, guys, as much as I hate that word, was just getting tortured. He was, in the book, freaking out. Every time she screamed, he was yelling her name, and it's like, dude, you're sounding like a broken record. Shut up. Now, but I can also understand, and I sympathize. Now, also, in the book, when they start dueling and Bellatrix is like, drop your wand right now, or we'll see how filthy this this woman's blood really is. Where she has the knife to her neck, and she actually cuts into her neck with the knife. And they actually do call Voldemort, because Harry realizes that Voldemort has been summoned, and he's like, they have the Voldemort's like, they have the boy, and he has just talked to Grindelwald in this scene, not in the forest. He had just found Grindelwald, and in the book, Grindelwald, or I not remember if he kills Grindelwald, but he does learn from Grindelwald where the Elder Wand is, and it is in Dumbledore's tomb or Dumbledore's grave. Now, he is on his way back, but this is not covered in the movie, but it's actually different. He's still hunting for the damn wand, but hey, guess what, Voldemort? I got it here. Anywho, so Dobby comes in, saves the day. You stupid elf, you could have killed me. Dobby never meant to kill, just seriously maim or injure. And she's like, how dare you to take a witch's wand? How dare you to fight? The way that Dobby looks at her and just goes, Dobby has no master. Dobby's gonna save Harry Potter and his friend. And he just grabs them all and disapparates, but unfortunately it was not fast enough. And Dobby, the death of, I'm gonna admit, folks, all seriousness, right now, are y'all listening? I cried like a bitch.
So did I.
I cried. I was fucking crying so much that the person who was in the theater looked at me and said, dude, are you okay? I'm like, no. I looked at my friend. I'm like, no, I'm not. I was that emotional, dude. I'm tearing up right now talking about the death of Dobby. Everybody says Dobby is gay. Dobby's a fag. Dobby's there. Fuck you. Dobby was a goddamn hero and he was a free elf. Fuck you. Dobby was awesome. So now that I have established that, what is everybody's thoughts on the whole Malfoy Manor and death of Dobby? We'll start with the only awesome lady in the chat in the panel right now, Mads.
No, I'm with you. When I read that in the book, yeah, I had to put it down and just cry for you, which is not something I'm very good at. Emotions are not exactly my strong suit. But yeah, that one hit me just as hard as Hedwig.
Yeah.
Throughout the book, we lose a lot of characters, but that was one of the ones that hit hard. It was like he was so sweet. I don't want to call him innocent, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a way, he actually was. He was always innocent. Yeah, that's something that he actually did maintain. He was a kind of sense of innocence.
Yeah.
24/7. Your thoughts on the Malfoy Manor and death of Dobby?
Well, when I seen the whole thing kick off, and in the movie, I saw how Harry Potter had that different face, and Malfoy was looking at him. And to be real with you, I think Malfoy knew it was him. But the whole thing is, Malfoy knew that he was, the whole situation was so fucked up that he didn't want to say one way or the other if it was him or if it wasn't. He was like, I don't know. It doesn't, and I understand. He did not want to add more to it than what it was, knowing that it was already a bad situation. So, but then it was, pressure from his dad and mom, and hey, son, just let him know that it's him, and we'll be rewarded. He was like, I don't know. Yeah, it was just it was messed up all the way around, and just see how that whole situation, turned about was kind of raw, Now, from the point where the whole fight took place afterwards, and they had to basically fight the way out of that situation as well. I was like, oh shit. I mean, really, I mean, when you look at it, I mean, we all saw that Harry Potter and everybody involved that was on this team, they were caught dead to rights. And the fact that they were able to maneuver the way out of it and get out of that situation, it was like, oh shit. It's like, you know, just see them defy the, you know, defy the odds and get out of that as well. I was like, wow. Like I said, it was for it to be the second to the last movie. It was the build up for, you know, especially because, you know, it was actually getting to the end of the movie, for the build up to be what it was, and, you know, and not to, you know, jump ahead of anything, but from this particular point of the movie leading all the way into the end, and knowing that, hey, we have a part 2 to, you know, to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
It was deep, and it was good, and it was rewarding to the, you know, for the fans that have stuck in so long to see, you know, how it was going to turn out, because it's always going to be a difference. And when you look at the book version versus what you actually get on film, and I'll tell you one thing that was night and day. If anybody likes anything with comic books, if you've seen the Christ on Infinite Earths,
yeah,
and if you know anything about the comic book, and you saw what you got on the CW TV shows.
Well, I saw the I saw the CW show or the episodes, but I never read the comics of Crisis.
And I tell you what, if you get a whole, you know, I mean, comicsology, you know, different, you know, not to get off subject, but if you ever get find a way, you know, for very cheap, you can actually check out the story. My whole point is, you know, when you see the difference of the actual story compared to what you were given on film or on screen, whether it's TV or you know, or actual movies, when you see the difference, it's and you know, and hopefully what we got on film with the Harry Potter movie was similar to what you know we were supposed to get when it came to the book, because, you know, the book is always, and I mean, you guys know better than me, the book is the source material, and you always want it to be as close to the source material as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And well, let me ask you this: is, you know, how close was it to the source material? Was it close at all, or did
it's close, but it's not as faithful as it should have been, in my personal opinion.
Right. Well, let me ask you, what was the difference?
Basically, some of the differences I did cover, where they tell Griphook to say that the sword is fake. Also, Pettigrew kills himself because of owing his life to Harry.
Oh, to Harry. Right.
Like I said, omissions from previous work or from previous movies and previous story hurts the first part of part 7 or of year 7. And from an objective standpoint, it's because of that. When I did my review, this movie got a 6.5 out of 10 when up from an objective standpoint.
Right.
Subjectively, I gave it an 8 out of 10, but in moviegoers, 9 out of 10. But yeah, I do 3-wave reviews when I do my reviews: objective, subjective, and moviegoer. And yeah, it's because of certain changes that they made in the books or in the movies and omissions. It can hurt the story going forward, but for the most part they did what they could, but they still, some of the differences hurt the story. Now we do got to get wrapping this up pretty soon. Ambassador, what'd you think of the Malfoy Manor and Death of Dobby?
Honestly, this was a satisfying conclusion to the first part, I thought. It had weight, it had stakes, it really amped up the tension in a lot of ways.
Okay.
Personally, if it had been me, again, okay, in this instance, I'm going to quote a favorite show of mine, Buffy the Vampire Slayer from season 7. You never go for the kill, you go for the pain. And I would have used every single one of the non-lethal curses on little Miss Bellatrix or Strange that I could muster. And I would have left him on her in perpetual status after I apparated out of there. Because she deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
To quote Chris Tucker from Rush Hour 3, you one crazy bitch! We could have had something special, but you one crazy bitch! And honestly,
that was Rush Hour 2, if I remember correctly. If it was the Chinese,
it might have been. It was
Yeah.
Rush Hour 2. Thank you, Orange.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, thank you for the correction. I thought it was 3, but it was 2. My bad.
I'm going to treat you like a man, a very beautiful man, who I love to take to the movies. But yeah,
But honestly, yes. If I had been wrong and that was my girl, Bellatrix was
Yeah.
toast. I wouldn't have killed her. I would have gone for the pain. I would have tortured her ass.
well, thing is, Ron was surely feeling it. If he would have used the Cruciatus curse, because one of the things that they say, you have to mean it when it comes to these curses. If you
Yes.
try using it without meaning it, it's not going to do anything.
And trust
believe me, at that point, he meant it. He wanted to hurt, but he never used it. He never went that far.
Yeah. As far as Dobby, I will say this about Dobby. I think all of us, I'm not speaking specifically because I don't know each one of you personally, but I think we all have that one friend in our lives that we have known the majority of our life. And they are very close to us, very dear to us, but at times they annoy the crap out of us because sometimes it can be very annoying. I think Dobby is that friend. Yes, and the first time we meet him in Chamber of Secrets, he's a little bit annoying. He's a little bit of a pain in the neck, but his intentions are good. And honestly, I think they played Dobby's death appropriately.
Yes.
Truly and deeply. I did not cry, but I did shed a few tears because this was a character who did not deserve to die. The 3 characters I cared about most in this movie that died, well, one's on the screen, the other was Hedwig, and the other one was Dobby. And I like to think at the end of part 2, each one of their deaths was avenged. And I hope that Dolores Umbridge was shoved in the deepest, darkest, dankest part of Azkaban that they could find, had her ass shackled, and as many Dementors as possible put on her and sucked every drop of life out of her.
Every ass, huh?
For keeping Mad-Eye Moody's eye on her door. And I hope that I got buried or Harry and Ron or somebody got to keep it. Because that bitch don't deserve diddly shit.
Yeah. Alrighty, folks. We do got to start wrapping this up.
Yes.
And as we know, the last scene of the movie is where Voldemort does get the wand and then shoots the lightning in the sky. And I just love how he holds the wand. How literally holding it the same way. How he just kind of in between 2 fingers and it rests on the back fingers. And how he just shoots it up into the sky. That wasn't a great scene where he just desecrates the tomb of Dumbledore. Anyway, folks, I would go further into that, but I do actually got to start cutting it or quick. So before we do go, we will, or I'll let you all plug your channels. We'll start with our newest edition, 24/7. Give your channel a plug.
Yeah. My name is 24/7. My channel's called 24/7 Fusion Media. Cover pop culture, things movie, video game related, TV shows, news, reviews, rants, you name it. If you like my personality or anything that you heard of me, please subscribe. Not trying to grow a channel, I'm trying to grow a community, and you're all welcome there, regardless of what's going on anywhere else. None of that matters.
Yeah.
Just come as you are, and you're always welcome, where I'm at. So there you go.
Alrighty. Folks, definitely sub to him. Mads, give your channel a plug.
Hey y'all, Mads Mama Bear here. You can find me at Mads Mama Bear here on YouTube and also on Twitter. I love to do all sorts of nerdy stuff, but Wednesdays I do drop my DC Extended. Sunday is going to be the poetry stream, and as per the viewer votes, it is getting switched to the evening. So watch that. It'll be after Keepers of the Force. And for those who are curious, this will be an upcoming video on how to make this, how I made this hat.
Alrighty. And Ambassador.
Well, I am the ambassador. You can find me at my channel, the Ambassadorial Wing. I cover pop culture, most modern and retro. And coming up actually tomorrow, to kind of piggyback on something Orange brought up and everything, his Hermione Granger fan fiction, I will be doing my next installment of my Star Wars fan fiction, Rey Who. This will be part 3. I haven't set a time yet, but I'll tweet it out as soon as I decide on a time. And I do live streams, I do uploads. You can find me on Twitter, you can find me on Instagram. And yeah, if you love hearing positive conversation about pop culture, give me a check out.
Alrighty. And also make sure you all sub to the beautiful AFK Bard. Folks, she is a great YouTuber as well. She discusses Stranger Things and other. She's a great co-panelist in many other people's live streams as well as mine. So yes, definitely give her a sub. And with that, folks, stay tuned for 2 weeks from now where we go over the final stream of the Harry Potter series, part 2 of the Deathly Hallows. And boy, you will see some goodness coming there. I'll have a couple more things to show you all when that comes around. Anyway, folks, this has been Orange Hat Reviews and Panel. And you all have a good night. If you catch this on the replay, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. What did you think of the movie? Did you like it? Did you not? All that stuff. Let me know your favorite parts. Did you cry like a bitch with Dobby? Did you hope that Harry would kiss Hermione in the tent scene? What did you think of the whole Horcrux thing? Let me know all that stuff, folks. Let your freak flag fly. Anyway, folks, this has been Orange Hat Reviews and Panel. Take it easy and stay humble.
Later.
Peace.